All right, this is how to think in decades, not days. I use Gamma to make these. The whole idea of this is to refine thoughts, work on my communication, and work on presentation skills. So later on, hopefully, when I become successful, one, I can actually help people more effectively by talking about the things that help me out more clearly, and then two, providing a roadmap for everybody and seeing that everybody can do this because I'm not doing anything extraordinary, and that you can help people out or reach your goals, no matter what you do or what they are. Just yeah, and a son. I'm only 25. I get told that I'm old, and I'm an old guy in a young person's body all the time. So I don't know. This is at least what I think. Hopefully, we can communicate this clearly. It's kind of hard. It's easier to do in conversation. To me, it's harder to do in presentations. So, trap in short-term happiness. The graduation illusion. See, I'm already struggling. Anyways, somebody who helped me navigate this was Jordan Peterson a lot. Some of his Patrick Bet-David, some of his Axel Mosley, but in this particular one, it's Jordan Peterson. So Jordan Peterson explains how people often misunderstand happiness. So like happiness is very short term, purpose and meaning is long term. So we chase accomplishments. For example, we graduate. We get on top of this mountain here. You get a short burst of joy, and you're just like, wow, look at the view here. But then shortly after, you're instantly faced with the reality. So if you graduate, you have a bunch of debt, you have a long road ahead, you're unemployed, and the next thing that you look for once you get to the top of this is the next highest peak that you can go to. So what you actually don't enjoy is this short-term happiness. You actually enjoy the journey and the difficulty of getting there, which is this mountain analogy put in two. Oh, and then he thinks about choosing the biggest mountain that you can have so you can always strive towards it consistently, which will give your life meaning. So let's see. Choose a long term mission that expands your entire life. At least that's how I took it. Um, Decision making shifts from emotional short term things to long term and directional. How does this align with your goal? Or does it align with your goal for to make this decision? If not, discard it. Purpose and pursuit. Now, my long term goal was explained more thoroughly in episode 0, but it's basically to make a whole bunch of money to change the course of abject poverty. I put in a lot of these videos, so if these ever do take off, then I'm held accountable in striving to do it, and then also as a reminder to myself, if I do make a whole bunch of money, the purpose for it, not just for material things. Purpose and pursuit. The most meaningful action is choosing a mountain so large that you can never reach the top, which we just talked about. In my case, is to make $100 million and then make a perpetuity fund like Benjamin Franklin did for 2 of the cities. If I make $1.3 million by 30 and it doubles every 7 years, I think I'll reach it somewhere around 90, and then I can die and hopefully be happy. So that's the goal, and that's my purpose and pursuit. Why it simplifies life. So doing that, it reshapes the hardship. So Andrew Tate talks about this quite a bit. The most difficult times in his life was the times that he actually appreciated the most. And I agree with that in a lot of terms of the sense. A lot of people talk about it, even Joe Rogan. Even though I don't talk about him very much, I still listen to a lot of his podcasts and help shape a lot of the things that I think about. So purpose makes the hard things bearable and actually enjoyable, in my opinion. I look back at the times that I chose to be homeless to save money or, due to unfortunate circumstances. And I actually really appreciate those times. Luckily, it all went good. If it went bad, I'd probably have a different outlook on it. But I really do like those times. Eliminating temptation. So I just ask myself, does this help for my long-term goal? And specifically for me, because mine's very, very financially driven, I think of something and I'm like, oh, that's a really nice jacket. Or my backpack's falling apart and I'm fixing it. If I were to get this new backpack, what would that mean? It means that I'm taking money that could be compounded later to help other people who are starving and living in poverty. It's not worth it. Now, I do have a little bit of flexibility with that when I'm in a unique place with a lot of friends or family, I guess. For a unique experience, I still think you need to live a little bit, but I think that needs to be maybe less than 10% of your life and your focus. 90% of it is towards a larger goal. At least that's the split kind of that I tried to objectify. And compounding actions. Focus shifts from quicker boosts of happiness and short-term stuff like for example, I eat basically the same thing every day. I eat chicken, rice, and sometimes vegetables, but mostly chicken and rice the last 7 years. It's probably been 90% of my meals. There's that 90-10. And because of that, it compounds over time. I really don't like eating chicken and rice every day. I really like steak. I really like beef. But, you know, the short-term stuff, the short-term happiness that I would get from eating like a New York strip or a ribeye, um, it, I don't know. Let me think. It shifts it from my quick happiness of liking to eat the steak rather than the long-term action of being able to help others. So I'm betting that the delayed gratification later on will bring me more happiness and fulfillment than the steak will do in the short-term time. Strategic focus for young men. So here we go. The financial pyramid. What I focused on, up to 25. Now I got about $278,000 at this time of recording. Now it's highly dependent on the market, obviously, which is very interesting right now in December of 2025. But I focused on building a financial pyramid first, the big base. You can't have a high pyramid if your base is really small. It's just going to crumble over. Global experiences. So let's see, build memories if you travel while working, which unfortunately I have 2 jobs that allow me to do that. I have experiences for my mission. The main purpose right now is to build financial pyramid. Then I have a little bit of time where I can do some some fun memories and then traveling and stuff like that. But it aligns with this one as well. Now your personal interests, reserve 5 to 10% for hobbies that don't generate income. Now that includes the deer hide that I've been tanning, or I don't know. I mean, you could even put like helping out some of the homeless guys, because I mean, although it does align with trying to help people in the lifetime thing, it doesn't really go towards a big goal. Let me think. What else is there? It's kind of just this, kind of these two. Oh, or food. I mean that. Majority of it, like 90% of it, should be working towards your goal, or at least that's what I chose to do. The high cost of short-term thinking, reactive living. Short-term thinking makes you reactive. You drift away from your goals, fleeting from emotions. For mine, it would be food, or I don't know, I guess hunting. I mean, hunting, that comes every once in a while, but I have a hard time coming up with examples because the majority of my stuff that I do is towards the long-term thinking, and I live very frugally, but a compounding loss. So the way that I would think of it, if I were to get nice clothes all the time, or I get this new backpack, or I change my car, all that money could be invested into the stock market, which then compounds later. So I think Graham Stephan did something, and it was like 45 or 50 years later, if you invest $1, it's worth, I don't know, $50, or maybe it was 60 years. I don't know exactly. Basically, the money that you could spend now, if you have $1,000, it'll go right here, right to this line here. And then you spend the rest of $2,000 on whatever else you want. Versus if you spent $2,500 of that and then have $500 for fun, instead of being capped out here, it'll be way up here. So there's opportunity cost in 1, the time that you spend, and then 2, the compounding effect of it. I don't know if that really made sense, but something we can work on later. Habits that build a mindset. Seek wisdom. So when I was younger, I don't really mind getting the whole details of that. I basically spent a whole bunch of time with my grandpa, and he's older, and he brought me to coffee, and they'd sit there for 4 or 5 hours, or at church, and I would just listen to some old people talk for hours and hours and hours and hours. That's very good. Unfortunately, I was around those role models when I was younger, and I had a whole bunch of wisdom from that, which was compounded through solitude later. When I was younger, when I would split wood or work a bunch of hours, all that wisdom kind of soaked in and gave me a whole bunch of questions about the meaning of life, or what's the meaning of this material stuff, or why make money and stuff like that. Curate influences. So like I've talked about before, Jordan Peterson, Patrick Bet-David. You listen to Joe Rogan, some things Andrew Tate, Alex Hormozy. I talk about him all the time. All of these guys that you get the wisdom from, they'll give you wisdom as well, and then they'll help shape or ask the right questions. I went a little Porky Pig there. The right questions, and instill values. At least the values that they gave me was responsibility and delayed gratification. Find your own role models. There's new ones coming up every day, or look at the old ones too. Or listen to a lot of books. And curate influence. So I guess that'll help shape it as well. Then build your foundation. Role models will help you shape how you see yourself in the next decade. You think longer in the future, and then you can start by using their strategies and or come up with your own to start going towards that big purpose. A vision for decades ahead, short-term execution. Collect abnormal experiment, or this is what at least I try to do. I collect abnormal experiences, build rare skills, and earn money while doing meaningful work. Share these lessons with family and friends. This is short-term, and I don't know. I guess in a small sense, I do these things, and I talk to my grandparents about it. I mean, I could spend more time with them, which would be good. But if I'm doing abnormal experiences and I'm earning money and I'm making stuff, so when they pass, that they know that I'll be okay. That gives me a lot of the short-term happiness and stuff. And then my long-term mission is to help other people, which will give me satisfaction, even if they don't know who I am. So that's kind of how I balance the two. Whenever I reach this goal, my grandparents will be dead. But I don't really know if that makes any sense. Hopefully it does. Cheat code for life. Now, there's not really any cheat codes. I don't really know why I said cheat codes, but this is very strange. Long-term thinking is a cheat code. It simplifies decisions, which is true, builds discipline, which is true, and lets you pursue goals that are too big for short-term thinking to handle. I don't know why it says cheat code. I use Gamma to help me do these. The biggest practice with building these presentations is just refining my ideas, which is actually coming up with the content itself, not really the presentation. So in order to save time and actually be able to continue to do stuff to reach the goal and then make content where I'm actually doing things instead of just presenting, I use Gamma. And sometimes stuff like this happens or pictures don't align and stuff like that. So that slide didn't really make much sense. Apologize for that. Or can't really expand upon it. Start climbing today. So if you want to do this, meaningful decisions. Hard choices become meaningful when they serve a greater purpose. So try to come up with a big purpose and then try to make meaningful decisions, I guess. Strategic sacrifice. Sacrifices stop feeling like losses once you have this big purpose that you're going towards. So they don't feel like losses. They start feeling like strategy, and they actually give you enjoyment through the difficult times. And natural discipline. Discipline becomes natural when your purpose or your decade or your goals later on actually have meaning and weight to yourself. So the discipline becomes natural by striving towards those with everything you got. I guess that kind of sounds cliche, but slow progress still feels fulfilling most of the time. Every once in a while, you still think about the meaning of life or why you're doing stuff or what you're doing with your life. So, especially, I don't know, my earlier experiences in my 20s, I had a lot of the short-term happiness and stuff, and then it seems like with my friends and stuff, the middle of your 20s, nobody knows what's going on, and everything seems strange. I don't know really what's going on. That's just kind of my big life goal, and that's how I make decisions. And hopefully this helps you out if you're in your mid-20s and you have other thoughts or can help out in anywhere in this presentation, or just have any thoughts, please let me know. I'll try to respond to all the comments that I have, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Peace.